Hello everybody, this is Fronita Bobbin here, and welcome to a video where today I'm going to be talking about Thomas and Friends, The Great Race, the movie. Yeah, so what can I say about this movie? Well, I do have some positives, but I also have a few complaints. Now, this video does contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Thomas and Friends, The Great Race movie, then you'll want to click off this video and then watch the movie, and then once you've seen the movie, come back to this video, and then you can get my thoughts on the movie, considering this video is going to contain spoilers. Alright, so, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the review. So, The Great Race, the movie. Where do I start? Well, first of all, let's talk about the plot. So what's the plot? Well, the Great Railway Show is happening, and Thomas wants to compete very badly. However, a lot of the engines say that he's too small and that he shouldn't compete. But Thomas tries as hard as he can to try and compete in the Great Railway Show, and eventually he does, and quite by accident when they reassemble Gordon not properly, and his safety valve is missing. So then Thomas has to rush to the Great Railway Show to get to Gordon, but unfortunately Gordon won't listen to Thomas, and he runs the race, ending up blowing up his boiler and coming last place in the race. Tragedy for Gordon. And since Thomas is at the Great Railway Show, he decides to help Percy Serp and Percy, not Percy Serp. I don't know why I said Percy Serp, but that's a side conversation for another day. So Thomas ends up competing in the shunting competition, and he wins. So he wins for Sodor in the shunting competition, and they get at least one trophy out of the whole show, considering that they competed in all of the competitions. Alright, so there's the plot. So, first off, let's start with the complaints. So the first thing that I want to complain about is all the international engines not getting enough screen time. I just felt that all the international engines could have gotten more screen time. I mean, of course Ashima and Vinny got enough screen time, but I felt that everybody else had a chance, and one of them would be the Flying Scotsman. Of course, Flying Scotsman is not international, but who cares? Yeah. I was hoping that the Flying Scotsman would get a lot more screen time in the movie. Unfortunately, he didn't, and he only said about 5 or 6 lines in the whole movie, and I was really excited for the return of the Flying Scotsman to Thomas and Friends ever since we saw his tenders in Tender Engines, which was an episode way back in season number 4. But, yeah, so I was hoping that the Flying Scotsman would get more screen time in this movie, but the movie was only an hour long, so I guess they didn't have much room to put the Flying Scotsman in the movie. So yeah. Also, I was hoping that every international engine would be able to say at least one line in the movie. Unfortunately, only about 5 or 6 international engines had lines. There was Ashima, Vinny, Carlos, Etienne, I think that's how you say his name, Frida, and that's about it, really. I was expecting Rajiv to have a line, or, more of the international engines. I was expecting that every international engine would have at least one line in the whole movie, or at least some lines. But, unfortunately, only Ashima and Vinny had, like an actual place in the movie. Everybody else was just cameos. And that I didn't really like that very much at all. I was hoping that the international engines would all speak lines in the movie, and yeah, but unfortunately they didn't. But it is what it is. But if this movie was an hour and 30 minutes long, like I was expecting it to be when I first heard the title, I was expecting all the international engines to get lines, at least some few lines, but unfortunately, they didn't, but it is what it is. Also, there was this scene that was a bit unrealistic, where Thomas was he came up to the mainland bridge, and then he jumped over and he landed on the track absolutely fine. I thought that scene was a little bit unrealistic and a little bit dodgy and stuff. Like, Thomas would never have landed directly on the rails. But, I guess fate just didn't want to be negative at all, and Thomas just landed on the rails like the movie was supposed to. Yeah. I'm sure if that was filmed in real life, it would take a billion tries to get the train to land on the rails. But this was, of course, in CGI, so they didn't have to do all that nonsense. But yeah, but other than that, those are all the complaints that I have this movie. So let's go. So let's get into the positives. Um, Positives. What do I say? I actually forgot what I was going to say for the positives. Oh yeah, so um, actually, I don't even know what to say for the positives. I said my negatives, but basically everything else in the movie is good. It's good. Streamline Gordon looks good. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for that because a lot of people seem to dislike Streamline Gordon. I really don't know why, but hey, I like the look of Streamline Gordon, and it's also interesting how Gordon, like, since he didn't have a safety valve, he was overheating and his face turned bright red, and eventually his boiler blew up, taking him out of the race. And that was a tragedy, as the announcer said. Also, I'm kind of surprised that Henry came last in the strength competition, considering he's the strongest. He's like one of the strongest engines on Sodor, and of course he comes last in the strength competition. I guess he's just a weakling compared to the rest of the world. What else? And also there was Emily and James competing in the decoration competition. I guess they didn't come very high in place. And James was hoping that he would win the decoration competition, and I was hoping too, because James is technically bank coaches, but nope. James and Emily just couldn't compete up against the rest of the world, and yeah, too bad for bank coaches, but at least they tried. What else stuff? Yeah, basically I'm talking about all the interesting stuff. Well, it's like interesting and good at the same time. I don't know why, but you know, I did have plans for saying positives and stuff in this movie, but unfortunately I didn't. Also, Diesel was hilarious in this movie. Like, he was gonna try to pull a really long train so he could go to the Great Railway Show instead of Henry. So he would get all the Diesels to look like cars, and Diesel would look like he was pulling a very long train. But of course it failed, and Diesel never went to the railway show. But he tried his best, but his plan failed pretty miserably, actually. And then during the title credits, Diesel ends up getting sent to the mainland by accident, and yeah, it was an interesting day for Diesel when he was on the ship to the mainland. Yeah, so that's my thingy. That's my thingies on that. Next part, you're probably thinking, what do I think about the songs? Well, the songs, they're good, except for one. The lyrics, I like the songs themselves. Like the music is fantastic, the lyrics are fantastic. The songs are great. But the problem I have with the song is what happens during the song. Like the song, I think it was where Thomas sings "All I Need Is a Bit of Redefining." That song. I thought like what happened during the song was a bit unrealistic, because Thomas has like a daydream where he goes to the steamworks to be streamlined, and then he's super fast. I wasn't really a big fan of that part. Streamlined Thomas looked good, but wasn't a big fan of that since it was a bit unrealistic. Yeah, but in real time, Thomas just steamed along the rails, and I guess it wouldn't be very fun to see for a sort of thing. Yeah. But other than that, the rest of the songs are good. I do like the thing. Well, I'm not really a big fan of the things that are part of the songs, but I do like the songs themselves, like the lyrics and the music and stuff. Like, I like that part. That part is good. Other than that, I don't have much else to say about this movie. So this movie overall, it wasn't as good as I was hoping that it would be, but it was still a good watch. It was still fun to watch. Yeah, Andrew Benner has definitely done a good job with writing this movie. Like, Gordon blows up his boiler, and you would think that it would be a Shed 17 type thing, but nope, this is supposed to be a children's show, not a strange thing. That was really, yeah. But yeah, overall, I give Thomas and Friends The Great Race a 9 out of 10. Overall, it was a good movie. I was hoping that the International Engines would get more lines and hoping that the Flying Scotsman would get more screen time, but it is what it is, and the movie was only an hour long, so they had to fit like a storyline into a 1 hour sequence thing. So yeah, again, 9 out of 10 for this movie. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.